Thank you again for joining and welcome back to another episode of In Between Rounds. Here, I got the honor of being joined by Mr. Cisco Rivera. Cisco, how you doing today, brother?
Good, man. I'm good. I'm good. Just get preparing for my fight Saturday night.
Yeah, I can see that. I see you got the sauna suit on
Yeah.
and you're out there in Florida. How long you been out there? Just a few days now?
Yeah, since Tuesday I've been out here
Okay.
fighting Saturday. So we came out here Tuesday, got a COVID test, quarantined for about 12 hours and good to go.
Yeah, how you feeling, brother? I know you took a bit of time off. I seen you kind of exploring the world and just kind of taking some time for yourself. You feeling okay for
Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I've always been training. I've always been in the gym. I've always, helping other fighters get ready for the fight. So I've always been active in the gym. It's not like I've been just sitting on my couch or doing
Yeah.
whatever. So, I've always been in the gym. So being able to finally get a fight, this year, starting off the year right is good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I've been seeing you in a lot of different camps, man. Just kind of coming in there, and the people I follow, I'm looking like, hey, is that Cisco in the background, man?
Yeah, yeah,
It's great, man, to see you out there. It's great to see you active, and it's great to see you kind of just working with such high level names, and just kind of shows where you're at, and if these guys are willing to trust you with their fight camps and stuff like that, it just kind of goes to show where you are and how people feel about you and other fighters feel about you and the respect level you get in the game. So.
right. Yeah, I've been around for a minute, so able to meet a lot of people in the fight game. A lot of the fighters, former UFC guys now. So I always have good relationships with them, and I'm not one of those cocky fighters that thinks they're the shit. I get along with everybody, so it's pretty much
Yeah.
how I am.
Yeah, that's big in the game, man. So let's go ahead and, as you know, the whole premise of the interviews is just kind of let people know who you are, how you got into it, and just kind of telling your story. So I'm gonna kind of let you go with it. Let the fans know how'd you get started. How do you get to be where you're at today?
Yeah, man, I started when I was about 24, 25. Came across a gym out in La Mirada. One of my buddies, Brian Joplin, who was a former professional fighter back in the day. Um, he's the one that got me into fighting and stuff. I wasn't really doing it to do it professionally. It
Hmm.
was more just to stay in shape, get to the gym, work out. And I ended up being really good at it, being an athlete growing up, playing football, playing baseball, running track, all high school sports. I've always athletic, growing up. So martial arts wasn't as big when I was little until, my mid 20s, 25 is when it really started, going when the first Ultimate Fighter came on and, Matt Serra and George St. Pierre were the champs, Bruce Franklin, like
Yeah.
all those guys is when I started watching it. So then I started kind of getting into it, took a few classes, took a few Muay Thai classes, started getting better and better. Did a few amateur fights, about 7, 8, or 9 of them, lost a couple, won a couple, kind of went through the whole process of learning how to fight. Didn't know how to cut weight, was about 170 when I first started,
Uh-huh.
175, because in football it was always about lifting heavy and getting big.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
until I got into fighting, it was about, the smaller the better, So that's how that started. And my my buddy Brian, he passed away in a car accident, so I kind of stuck by fighting just for him, just kind of for our gym. I was kind of like the only one left that was a pro out of our gym, so I was kind of repping our gym and repping where I was from down in Whittier in Orange County, Buena Park. So kind of stuck with it and it ran with it and it turned out good. First professional fight, first knockout, 26 seconds, and it was all
Nice.
uphill from there.
Yeah. Now, growing up out there in Buena Park, you kind of grew up the same way as I did as far as sports goes. It's just for me from probably 4 to 5 years old to through high school, it was just a common cycle of baseball, football, baseball, football. Did you get into much trouble? Did you ever have to throw hands at all before you actually knew how to, you know, get technical with it?
Yeah, no, not really. I've never really been in any street fights. I've always had older cousins that
Mhm.
looked out for me.
Yeah,
And where I'm from, they were from the local gang there, so they knew, who I was, me and my cousins and my brother, and we'd be in the streets, but they knew not to mess with us. We'd always
yeah,
have
yeah,
somebody looking out for us.
yeah.
Those my older cousins, now they're all fight fans. Now they want me to protect them and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
there yeah, it's that's how that. So I was really never into trouble, and anytime I did get in trouble, I was scared of my cousins that were gonna come put me in check. My
Yeah,
mom's gonna have
man,
card.
I noticed that a lot of times even though you kind of have the access to that, or you kind of get that chip on your shoulder, there's still the respect level of, look, man, even if I do, man, I don't want to deal with these guys, because I had
Yeah,
that growing up where it was a lot of, hey, dude, if this happens, I'm gonna go after you. Like, I might fuck
yeah,
them up, but I'm gonna go after you too, because you
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
get me in
exactly.
trouble. So I get that. So we say 24. Uh, it's a little on the older side, and it's really good to hear, because to see the level that you're at and the level you're performing at. I know there's a lot of guys out there who kind of figure, with the newer age coming in, it's like you're seeing guys that have been at it since 7, 8 years old, and so to see or hear that you're coming in at 24, mid 20s, and still kind of able to put it up. Were you at all intimidated going in there? Were there younger kids, or I know it was still a new sport, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at first, because I've never been in a fight, but once I came to realize that it wasn't about your age, size, or how strong you are, being technical, learning the things you learn in the gym, and you know, picking up what you pick up off the coaches and training partners, and just kind of go with it. It really ages. I feel like it's not really. It's where you take care of your body, the way you train.
Hmm.
That puts your mindset in a strong place, so you'll be able to deal with anything. And I fought guys in amateur from like 18 to like 30, and I was like in my mid 20s. So once I went pro, it was kind of like it didn't matter by that time. Kind of already.
Yeah,
And back in the day, our smokers were like, you're fighting this guy, he's about 10 pounds. All right, you're fighting, it's like 10
yeah.
pound difference, so it really weight didn't matter like that either. So it was cool to go through that. Now, these fights pretty much are nothing. It can't get no worse than what I've been through.
Yeah, you know what? I've noticed that, and those are kind of my favorite stories, from hearing people in the beginning days of sanctioned, mixed martial arts, or fighting on the Indian reservations. I had a friend who said they would drive to Mexico a bunch of times. The whole team would get in the van, and that's
Yeah,
kind of how it was. But like you said, the way everything is now and the way the sport is now, it's like an easy street, right? You just kind of got to put in the time, put in your work, and you've already kind of dealt with the harder stuff. Now, dealing with that, your first amateur fight, I know, what do you say, 26 seconds? Were there butterflies? Was there a gym that you were kind of, hey, this is my gym. These are the guys I'm going to rep, and people that I know your friend kind of took you under his wing. But what were your feelings like in that first initial fight?
yeah. It's hard to describe. If people that have never been in a fight or a professional fight or any type of fight, it's kind of hard to describe. You kind of just go. You feed off the people around you. You feed off your
Uh-huh.
team. You feed off your training partners. You feed off your coaches. In your head, as your first fight, you're doubting yourself. You thinking, oh, I can't do it. I don't think I can do it. It's hard. Maybe I'm not ready to be a fighter. Maybe I was wrong. You have all these things playing in your head. Meanwhile, you've been in the gym busting your ass, getting ready for a fight. And I think that's being part of a certain team, or group of friends that push you through that that fight week, or that getting ready for a fight, that grind. So
Yeah.
it all pays out. It keeps you calm, collective, and you know when any time a fight comes, you're ready to go.
Now, growing up, I know you said you were, mostly a baseball, football kind of guy. Were you the only one in your family into this? Did you
As,
have
as
multiple friends?
I had a few friends that were into it, but most of my fighting friends I met at the fighting gym. you
Uh-huh.
know I didn't really have any close friends or family that was into mixed martial arts. I'm pretty
Yeah.
much, out of all my family that I've known for years, and dad's side and mom's side and uncle's side, like anybody that I've ever known growing up family wise, I've never knew as a fighter or a martial artist. So I think I'm the first one in my whole family that's doing this.
Yeah, growing up, it was, I mean, I grew up watching solid boxing fights, and, every other Saturday there's this fight on, that fight on, everyone kind of gathering up. But man, I wish now, I'm 34 now, but I wish I would have paid more attention. I got into it. I started kind of hearing it back in the, like you said, the GSP Matt Sarah days, and I was going, but I really didn't put forth of a good effort to get into it until like the Anderson Silva era, and Chael
Right.
Sonnen was big on my radar, and just kind of hearing it and build up and
Yeah.
watching all that. And that's really when I started kind of getting into it more. But it's one of my biggest regrets. It's like, man, I wish if I would have spent that time in high school instead of playing baseball, or doing this kind of stuff, if I would have gotten to wrestling and
Wrestling.
found. But I also know that back then there weren't many gyms to go to, and what I'm finding out a lot is you kind of had to know somebody to kind of get you in anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Same here. You know, my football coach didn't want me to wrestle because I was good at football. He's like, you got to do off season. You got to lift weights. You got to get bigger, faster, stronger. So I didn't wrestle. You know, I didn't realize wrestling was going to be a part of my life eventually. You know, so
Yeah,
um, yeah, to do what I did now in a short amount of time at that age, you know, I felt like it's a good accomplishment. You know, and not a lot of people can
definitely.
say that. You know, not a lot of people can say that at my age, go into a gym and then fight 13 times for the UFC. You know, so.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I've been a fan, I think, since you've been in the UFC. I think my first fight that I saw you in was, I think it was the Lesnar, it was Ultimate Fighter, one
Yeah,
of
the
those fight
finale.
cards. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I remember fighting you or watching you fight. I think you were fighting
Ruben
Ruben
Duran.
Duran. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, Ruben Duran. Are you guys, at the time, were you guys on the same management team?
yeah. We
Was that
were.
weird?
Yeah, you know, yeah. It was kind of weird, but you know, it's part of the fight game. You know, it's all business at the end of the day. You know, he's a real good friend of mine now. You know, we're all good friends, but you know, when it's time to get that check, it's time to work and do what you got to do to
Yeah,
feed
that's
your
good.
family. That's you got to do what you got to do. You know, all respects to him and stuff, but you know, I ended up losing that fight and got cut from the UFC, and then he stayed. I went back to Tachi, fought 2 fights, quick knockouts, and came back. And then I was like on an 8 fight streak with the UFC. Came back, you know, that was pretty good to do. Also, you know, get cut. So I kind of know how it works now. You know, I go out here and fight good, put on a show. You never know what can happen. The UFC can
Oh
call me
yeah.
for a late replacement. You know, and the way I fight is not a boring fight. You know,
No,
I
no,
come
yeah,
to
not
fight.
at all.
You know, every time I'm letting my hands go. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why people love to see me fight, no matter where, how, or who I'm fighting for.
Yeah, I was really really excited to see when you made the announcement and just kind of seeing you because like I said I've always seen you in the gym, but I always kind of wondered like, man, when's Cisco getting back? And we'll talk more about the mindset that you kind of had to get back into. But let's go
Yeah.
back. You got your first fight in. How many Emmys until you get? I mean, was it your decision? Hey, coach, I want to go pro. I want to try it out. Was the coach
Yeah.
telling you, hey, man, it's about that time?
Yeah, I had about 8 or 9 amateur fights, you know, out of fun, out of just training with training partners and gym partners. They're fighting. Hey, Cisco, you fight with us. That'll be cool. All 3 of us fight
Yeah.
as an amateur, you know. So then when the first time I went professional was by accident. I wasn't even thinking about going pro. Like I was like in my head, I'm like, dude, I cannot be a pro fighter. I'm about to get
Yeah.
my ass kicked or some shit, you know. Just my mentality wasn't in it to be a pro, you know. So then I think a couple months later, our coach was a matchmaker, promoter.
Hmm.
So he was like, "Hey, Cisco, one of these guys fell out. You know, do you want to make like $2,000? Quick come up, quick. You know, I'm hooking you
Yeah.
up like last minute. Usually they'll pay like 1,500 back then, but he was like, you're doing us a favor, so I'll pay you 2 G's." And then he was like, "Come on, this guy's not that good. You talk better." He was telling me where the guy was from, the gym, and he was like, "You fought amateur, you're way, you know." And I was going to Vegas, maybe I think the week after for like New Year's or something, with a bunch of buddies. So I was like, "Fuck, that's extra money." You know,
Yeah.
being 25, going to Vegas with a couple grand, like, dude, come on, you can't say no to that. Well, what's the worst gonna happen? I lose, I still get paid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, and I took it. Uh, you know, went pro and knocked the dude out in like 20 seconds, quick, just boom, you know. And after that feeling, after how I felt after that, after you know the the positivity I got out of that, the fan base, the love I got, the training partners, you know, my whole gym excited, it pushed me to work harder, you know, and that's how that started my journey.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's one of those things, just kind of feeling that, right? Feeling the love, and just going in there not really thinking you're good enough and then coming out, victorious. Was there ever a
Yeah.
thought of when did grappling into your life? Did you ever think about it, or did you just figure my hands are good enough to get me where I need to go?
Yeah. At first, you know, I did a few Muay Thai classes, and then I think I joined an MMA class, sparring class, and they kept wrestling, taking me down. And I thought I was good at football because, you know, football, it's all about hips and getting up.
Yeah.
I realized that I was wrong. So as soon as
Yeah.
that happened, after that day, I started taking all my MMA classes, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. You know, I did everything. So, you know, I've always took jiu-jitsu, I've always wrestled, I've always drilled in my team, I've always did the classes, I've always trained with my guys at CSW and Fullerton, you know, I've always for years. So I know how to do it. It's just I prefer to stand, and I'd rather get knocked out than me. So I rather me get knocked out than me try to submit somebody. I don't know. That's my mentality. But don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. Like, it's always there, and anything can happen in a fight. You know, if it's there, it's there. But I'm
yeah,
down to just stand and put on a show. Like, come on, knock me out, or I can knock you out. Let's, if you want to go to the ground, cool, whatever. I'll be ready for it. But that's just
yeah,
my style. It's always been that style, and I got that from my friend that passed away.
yeah,
He was one of my best friends, and when he died, I kind of that mentality stuck in my head. He was like, "We don't go to the ground. We stand and bang. He wants to take you down. You get back up, and we're banging." And so that kind
yeah.
of was just jokingly, but I took it serious from him.
Yeah, no, as a fan, man, you've always struck me as that going out on my shield type of guy, and
Yeah.
just there were fights where I'm at home kind of screaming, because I think around the time my older brother was good friends with I think your manager at the time. I'm not sure if you're still with them, but um, so me being super into it, he kind of, hey, we know this guy, or hey, this guy's fighting, so we started kind of rooting. And me and my dad would be at home, and my brother just screaming, at the TV, just watching
Yeah.
them swinging and swinging. So it was stressful times, man. It
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah. For sure.
it's good to see you come out on top, and then it was kind of heartbreaking to kind of see. But either way, it was a good show, and I know I
Yeah.
felt you felt good about it. Um, you don't have to answer this, man, if this is a little too personal, but with your friend, passing away, did that affect you at all? Did that affect anything? Did
Oh
it
yeah.
fire under you, or was it kind of
Yeah.
a?
Not only that was the first time I ever lost somebody close to me. Like,
Mhm.
I've lost friends and family, but not the way I was close to him. Like, that was like my main training partner. I was getting ready for him, for helping him get ready for his camps. He was helping me. He was cornering me every single fight, amateurs to my first couple of pros, and then he died, and then that was just devastating. So I didn't even go to the gym for like a month. I was just like
Mhm.
depressed. I was like, I'm done fighting. It's it, over. And then I just was depressed for like a whole month, and then just sad. And people would just come. It was the worst feeling ever. And then after that, I kind of just came out of that whole depression, sad, mourning thing, and just said, you know what, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it for him one more time. And I did, and it just stuck with me. And I think I got like 2 quick knockouts, and then the WEC called me. And
Yeah.
then after that, it was kind of like, damn, this is it. This is what I have to do, and I did.
Was there anything that besides using him as motivation, anything else that kind of helped you get out of that depression state and figure it
At
out? Was it
that
just kind
time,
of a,
at that time, it was just kind of like my family, my sister, she's a big Christian, and she would always come pray in my room and say, come out, come do this, come to church, come this, you need this, just positivity. And I was young at that time too. I didn't have a girlfriend, I don't think, at that time. I didn't have no kids. Like, I was just, just a single guy, just didn't know what was going on. So I kind of just got out of that by myself, and family. So, and then friends, friends helped me too, training partners. So I kind of just slowly started coming back to the gym. I think once I stepped foot back in the gym, it was all good. I
yeah,
started training again and going from there.
felt like home again, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I haven't really stuck to a gym. The times that I trained, it was kind of, friends, and I'm lucky enough to know a lot of very knowledgeable friends, and we kind of get that. But there were a few gyms that I was at for a while, and it's it's something with being able to beat each other up, right? That just kind of creates a sort of brotherhood and like just this family type of feeling. And I've always felt that in a lot of gyms. And I've actually been to a few gyms where I didn't really feel that.
yeah,
It was more of kind of like a, who's this guy? Let's see what he's made of type of deal. But I have been a part of some really good ones.
yeah.
It always, gives you a little bit more confidence. It keeps you around. WEC comes calling. Now, who made that happen? At the time, were you looking for a manager? Was this the coach? You're just trusting your coach to do everything that you need to do and steer you in the right direction.
I think at that time I had just signed with Jason House, maybe like 2 fights before that.
Hmm.
And oh, actually no, it was George, he's Manny Gambirian, like the Armenian guys, like Ronda
Hmm.
Rousey's. He used to be like one of their assistants
Yes, sir.
back in the day. I used to train with, like, all the Armenian guys over there, Manny Gambirian, Georgie Karkanian, and then
Hmm.
Ronda Rousey was around. That's before Ronda Rousey even had a pro fight. She was always at the
Yeah.
gym, and Glendale Fight Club. And that guy George is real good friends with Sean Shelby, and they were looking for a short notice to fight Eric Koch and WC. And I happened to be training with those guys, and he was like, "Hey, I got an offer if you want." And I was like, "Let's do it." And then I said, "Yeah," and I ended up fighting him. Like I think it was like a 2-week notice at
Mhm.
145. So made some money and went in there and did my thing. I obviously lost that fight, but it was an experience that I was like, dude, I got it back in the gym. That loss made
Yeah.
me just get right back in the gym and start fighting again.
Yeah, WEC was huge.
Yeah, it was
I
huge.
remember, and the amount of talent that they've put out, and when the UFC took over and everybody they took, it was amazing. What I've always wondered for something like that, like what's that structure like as far as contract goes? Is it like, hey man, you're gonna step in if you win, we might talk some more, or what's that like? What was the deal for you? What was the
Um,
upside? I mean,
give me a second. Hey,
yeah.
Matt, get a bunch of towels and lay them down right here. It was it was uh it was good. It was, you know, pretty much they said you fight, whatever happens, you'll get another fight. But the
Oh,
next one
sweet.
is going to be in the UFC because that's when the WC had sold to the UFC. So the UFC had
Mhm.
bought them. So any new contracts the WC got was going to be under the UFC. So that
Beautiful.
right there, I was like, oh, you can't say no to that. I'm about to be in the
Yeah, struck
UFC
oil,
next
yeah.
fight. Yeah. So that was that and ran from there.
Yeah. So, did you notice a difference? I mean, I know it was only one fight, and let me know if you need to take a break or anything, brother. We can
No, I'm
definitely
good. I
take a
just
break.
give me a pillow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Next one.
So
Give me
was
grab a
there?
pillow real quick.
Yeah, no worries, man. Get comfy, man. I know. I was kind of worried
Yeah.
about asking you about today. I'm like, I don't know, man. He's
No,
got
I'm
the
good.
weigh in tomorrow.
I only
Um.
got a few pounds, so it's not before. This is at a catch weight 40, so I'm good.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was there a big difference from the WEC to the UFC? The next one, bigger shows. Even still at that time, I always tell people for myself, MMA is
That
huge, but
blanket.
for, probably 7 out of 10 people, it's not that big. But was there a big difference as far as arenas and everything going on?
Oh yeah, huge difference. UFC had. I mean, WC was cool. They had their setup the way they did. Zuffa kind of ran the same thing, but the WC took it to a different. I mean, the UFC took it to a different level. They took it to. It's just like, you know, different weight classes. Bigger names, bigger promotion,
Hmm.
biggest one in the world. It was more nerve wracking than any other promotion, obviously, that I
Yeah.
fought
You
for and
felt
was
kind of
getting.
felt like you had to perform to a certain
Yeah,
level.
yeah, and the nerves in that one was like the worst. Like I've never been nervous in any of my fights the way I was for that fight against Ruben. So it was something I didn't know how to deal with, and it showed in the fight. I was winning that first round, and then it was going back and forth, and then he caught me with the guillotine, and it just sucked. After that, I was just like, I cannot do that again. So after
Yeah.
that, it was all uphill from there.
It's funny that you guys were really good friends, but it doesn't seem like that made any difference in the fight. It was more of a,
Yeah,
the nerves of
yeah,
fighting in
yeah,
the UFC
yeah,
was the big deal.
yeah,
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 but that's good, man. I always, some people are really anti, fighting teammates and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people
yeah,
that are just like, look, man, it's a business and we can fight and shake hands and all is well. Like you said, you got to
yeah,
feed your family some way. And at that time, not many organizations were out there. I don't know if Strike Force or Bellator were as big at that time. And the UFC was just kind of taking over. Um,
yeah.
so let's keep going, man. I mean, you get caught with that guillotine. Did you ever try to take jujitsu or wrestling more serious and maybe focus on that a little more than your striking? Was there
Y-
ever a time
y-
where you kind of felt like my striking's
Yeah,
good? And
yeah. Right after that, I just started taking jujitsu more. Jujitsu classes, rolling more. You know, doing the group classes. Getting more coached by my jiu-jitsu coach at the time, doing more
Mhm.
one-on-ones and having a jiu-jitsu coach in my corner when I fight, so it made a big difference. Definitely took it more serious, and it made me a lot better. It made me understand a lot of things, and as each fight I fought, the next fight got better, 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 better. So I was like on a 5-fight win streak, after that. So it was a huge deal that I did that, and I'm glad I did it at the time.
Yeah. No, were you sticking with GFC or were you moving around camps and trying to
No,
find?
I was moving back and forth from the gym I was from, and then GFC I was going to help guys or going to get some rounds in, or just kind of floating back and forth because I was good friends with those guys. You know, they
Mhm.
were good friends of mine back then, and we're all still good friends. Um, it was just getting different looks, getting just better at they're good at their judo and their jiu-jitsu too and wrestling. So it was good to get different looks and go train with them. So we became very close friends, and I would go over there at least once or twice a week. And even after that I kept going a little bit, but I kind of stuck down to my gym. And then
Mhm.
our gym started getting bigger and bigger, and then Eric Polson came in and brought his guy, so that's kind of how we ended up, CSW got bigger and bigger, and that's where I started and stayed
Nice, man. Nice.
at
No,
that time.
as at your where's the turning point as far as you getting into the UFC? Was there ever a point where you kind of felt a plateau, or you're doing your best, you're doing anything? Was there any pressure from matchmakers like, hey, Cisco, man, we need you to do this, we need you to do that? Was there any of it on that side, or was it just kind of a you thing going on?
No, it was actually like it was going good after I got cut, came back. I was like on a 4-fight UFC win streak, and then I got the Uriah Faber call to fight him on short notice. And
Yeah, yeah,
I
the eye
was, I
poke.
was, yeah, I was whooping his ass that first round, and that second round he yanks my eye out. And after
Yeah,
that fight, it was like downhill from there. It was just,
you know,
it was just the worst thing that could ever happen, and in my career, as far as like doing everything that, because if I would have beat him, then I would have fought Dominic Cruz, and then winner that would
yeah.
have fought for the belt. So it was just something that coulda, woulda, shoulda, and the way I was winning that fight, there's no way I was gonna lose in my head and watching it and the way I felt that time. And after the first round, I was even more confident. It was just something that, happened. And so think about that. After that fight, it's kind of when things kind of went south for me. It kind of plateaued. It kind of stopped. The UFC gave him that win, knowing damn well he poked me in the eye. Even though I tried to go
Yeah.
fight it, try to get a no contest so we could rematch. None of that worked. I had eye surgery. It was just like a whole mess, at that time.
Yeah, we were that was actually, I mean, you answered it, but that was, I was waiting for you to get to that moment, but that was going to be one of
Yeah.
my big questions because I really did feel a turning point there. And like I said, me and my family are at home screaming at the TV. We all saw it. Um, I'm thinking the same as you, brother. And I thought that was the fight to get you, at least top three, top two, or fighting Cruz. So to see you kind of go and get to that point, and then of all things, an eye poke that wasn't seen, or I know he kind of jumped on you right after, and they called it.
Yeah.
Uh, we were flipping out at home, but that was one of my questions. I wanted to see how that affected you, but I can kind of see. But you still had a few fights
Yeah.
after that. I know you had a Lineker, right?
Yeah, I had John Lineker after that, lost that one on the fight of the night. That was just a put my head down and scrap fight.
I remember.
It was the game plan went out the window on that one. Sometimes I get hit and I get carried away and say, fuck
I
it, just
remember.
put
Yeah.
my head down and swing. Lost
Is he?
that one.
Does he hit as hard as I think he hits? Cause
No, what happened was his thumb kind of punched me in my eye and kind of shut my eye.
uh
So I couldn't really see, but I know I felt like we were just banging it out. He didn't knock me out; he guillotined me. So it was
yeah.
kind of like whoever catches who first. It was like 3 minutes of 200 punches. So we were going at it.
Yeah. So okay. So after Lineker, you fought one more time, I
Yeah,
believe.
I fought Alex Caceres and knocked him out.
Yes, and you took the win, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Which is big because
Yeah. He's
at
still
the
in the
time
UFC.
he had he was building, and he was on
Yeah,
a little bit of a, his hype was coming up, you know.
yeah, and he's still in the UFC too. So,
Definitely, yeah.
yeah, that was a big win for me. That was a 50-second knockout, third or fourth fastest knockout in bantamweight history, and I didn't even get a bonus for that. Fastest knockout on the card, didn't
Yeah.
get a bonus for that. But and then after that, I fought Brad Pickett, which I thought I won that fight and lost a split decision. You know, outstroked him, took him down just as much as he took me down. I probably had 20, 30 more punches than he did and kicks than he did. His hometown, they obviously gave him the win,
Yeah.
split decision.
When
But
you're
it is
when
what it
you're
is. After that fight, it was kind of like, fuck me, what do I do now? Like I gotta win. So
Yeah, when you're fighting somebody in their hometown, and I feel like Brazil might be an exception here, but do you feel the pressure to look, man, I'm not going to get is there ever a chance that you just kind of trust the judges will do the right thing? Or is it more like, look, man, I got to get out there and do my job. I don't trust these guys at all.
yeah, no, I tried my best. He's a tough guy. Brad Pickett's been around for a long
Definitely.
time, so
Yeah.
it's hard to finish that guy. I was sticking to the game plan, which is moving and punching, and it worked. I mean, everyone who watched that fight, even all the media people, had me winning the fight every round. So, um, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do, but yeah, I guess it is. If you don't win big in their hometown, you ain't getting the nod. But I've
Yeah.
seen worse judging, so I mean, I guess it is what it is.
So after you decided, to take a little bit of a layoff from the sport and, kind of feel things out, what was kind of your mindset at the time? Was it a, hey, I'm going to try to get back as soon as possible? Was it maybe it's time to just kind of take some time to smell the roses type of thought process? What was going on?
Yeah, I don't. It was kind of like a roller coaster. I didn't really know. I don't know what to do. You know, I didn't know if the UFC was going to cut me or what. It was kind of like up in the air. And then I think I was like 2 or 3 months later, the UFC called me to fight Eric Perez, and I was like, oh, they didn't cut me. I guess I'm good to
Mhm.
go. And I felt like if I didn't say yes to taking that fight, I was going to get
Yeah.
cut or some shit. So me being a fighter, I said yes. And honestly, I wasn't mentally ready to take that fight. I'd already had back issues. Like I couldn't even wrestle, do no jujitsu that whole camp. I felt like I was gonna miss weight. Like I felt, it was just a really bad fight that I should never have took. I should have just left it until I got my back fixed. And it was ended up taking that fight and ended up losing. And then they cut me, and that whole USADA shit happened. It was just a
Yeah.
bad time in my life, bad fight to take. I should have just did what I was supposed to and thought about my health before anything else, instead of trying to make the
Yeah.
UFC happy and make, the fans happy and support my family. I should have thought about my health at the time.
Yeah. I can understand the decision to, you're scared. That is your livelihood. That is your job. And hey, if I don't,
Yeah.
show up. I mean, for normal people, it'd be like, hey, can you come in on Saturday? I don't
Yeah.
want to, but
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I say no, so
Yeah.
I get it, man. I do. I did. I mean, like I said, I've been following you as long as I can remember, but I know you went snorkeling a bunch, man. I've seen you go a lot
Yeah.
of amazing, beautiful
Yeah.
places. Was it just kind of a reconnection with Earth and with yourself?
Yeah. More like friends, new friends, new friends I met, and the more positive, more mature guys, business guy type guys that made my mind stronger, and more enjoying life, enjoying my family, enjoying everything, than to worry about, you know, fighting and killing yourself in the gym and putting your body through all
Mhm.
this stuff. You need time to heal and enjoying life, to love what you do. And I think that's good that, I didn't fight for those couple years. Man, I missed it every day. I'm like, dude, I can't wait to fight. So being able to live my life and do whatever and come and train and just go and enjoy my life, it finally hit me that I'm ready to go back and do what I love and train and bust my ass. I'm healthy, mentally stronger. I'm excited. I've never been more excited to go train and get into camp and push my body and see the changes in my
Mhm.
body from just training back to remembering how fight camp was, and it was just the best feeling
Yeah.
ever.
Did it feel at all like there was kind of a little bit of a lull, or like it was a little tougher to get back at it, or was like your body just knew, hey man, this is it, we're back and let's get to work?
Yeah, no, my body knew right away. Like as soon as I signed that contract, I don't know, something in me just brings out that fight mentality that I've been doing for so many years when I was in the UFC, and
Yes, sir.
getting where I got, getting to where I got to is because of the mindset I have, the work ethic I put in the gym, the hard work I put in, the toughness I put in. I don't sit and bitch and cry about training. I go and show up. I diet. I do everything to the T, and I guess that's why I've always got to where I've got to because of the way I am.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Yeah, like I said, I was extremely excited to see you back at it. It's a XMMA. but 2 days from now, I'm gonna drop this before. I usually take a week or so to go, but I'm gonna drop this and try to promote for the fight and as much as we can. How do you feel right now? You know, getting into it. I know you say you feel good mentally. You feel good. Are you prepared and ready to go to war?
More than ready. I can't wait. I haven't been this excited for a fight. Like, have a smile. I've been having a smile on my face all week. You know, I saw
I could
my
tell,
opponent
brother. Yeah.
Ryan, and we shook hands, and you know, he's cool. I'm cool. Like, there's no animosity. We're coming to fight, put on a show, and everybody knows when I fight no matter what happens, who it is, you know, what the deal is. So I'm ready.
Yeah, definitely, man. We're gonna be watching at home. So we're coming close to the end. What I want to do is I do this for every interview. I have a list of 10 questions. They're super random, right? Some are a little on the weird side. Some are kind of what is it? But I like to ask everyone the same thing because I like to, fill out how different people answer
Yeah.
different stuff. Um, Question number one: what's the worst advice you've ever been given?
Worst advice. Shit. Oh my God, worst advice. Let's see.
We can come back to that if you want a little
Yeah,
more
come back
time.
to that. I don't know. There are so many. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
Honestly,
that's one of the hardest ones.
it's pretty much one of the hardest ones. There's so many worse advices. You
All right,
know,
well,
one
we'll
of
come
my
back.
we'll come
Number
back. Yeah, I'll come back to that.
if not fighting, then what?
Probably be working for the city of Bonaparte. That's where I started my job after high school and college. All my good friends in high school worked there. They're about to retire. Like, that's where they're going to retire from, and they always say, "You need a job? Come work for the city. We got you." So that's probably where I would be working right now.
That's beautiful, beautiful. All right, number
But
three.
now I'm teaching, and I love teaching.
As far
Yeah,
teaching
martial arts.
MMA.
Yeah, martial.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Wait, a real quick side question is: do you like the teaching aspect a little better than the training? It just kind of give you a little bit more fulfillment at all?
Yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of certain things. So I kind of use the way I was taught to teach, the mindset. So it's a big, it's a plus for me. Like, I love teaching. I love it's kind of like the same thing as fighting. It's for me anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Number three: dogs or cats? What do you got? What do you like?
Dogs, what the hell? I hate cats. I got two French
Yeah,
bulldogs, and
I see him. Yeah,
they hate cats. Like, if anything I hate, they hate.
yeah. All right. Number
Not
four.
nothing
This is
against cats. I'm just allergic to them.
yeah. No worries. No judgment here. This is a barbecue related question, brother. Charcoal or propane? What do you got under that grill?
Charcoal, bro. Come on. Charcoal
All
or
right.
smoke.
I've been getting more into the smoke stuff, man. It
Yeah,
takes a little longer. You got to put a little bit more effort, but
yeah,
I'm
but
not.
man,
I got friends who are super fancy and they got Bluetooth thermometers and stuff like that. I think that's all great, but is something a little bit nicer about actually checking in and doing a little old school I like.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
old school.
Number five, it's a little bit more of a serious question. Do you believe that your dreams have any sort of significance in your life?
Uh, I feel like they do. I feel like, to every person, your dreams are like what you think of sometimes, and throughout your life, you dream stuff, or you have dreams, and it's just kind of every day you go through something, and your mind just changes, and your dreams change, and you have different thoughts. So I feel like it has something to do with it.
Yeah, nice. That's a nice one. All right, number seven. Oh, I'm sorry, number six. And I'm a little excited for this one. What's your favorite behind the scenes moment? So this could be WEC, this could be amateur, this could be UFC. Your favorite
It's
behind the scenes moment in your career.
definitely UFC. Yeah, I think maybe when I knocked out Alex Caceres, was one of my biggest moments. Top guy, main card, knockout, 50 seconds in New Orleans in front of all these fans. It is one of the greatest times in my career.
Yeah, what was that like to hear the crowd, man, going
It's
crazy like
crazy.
that?
It's just like
Yeah.
insane. I had all the New Orleans football players come up to me, and like they were excited. That was like the best knockout of the night. It was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I can only imagine the feeling you'd get from watching a full stadium just shout your name after
Right.
you just
Yeah.
knocked him out unconscious. All right. Number seven is a little weird. You ever seen a ghost?
No. I don't believe he
Never,
is.
huh?
And
All
probably because I've
right.
never seen him.
Luckily, no one said yes, so I'm a little intrigued. Though I would like somebody to say yes. Number 8. What's the best way you deal with failure?
Oh man, just kind of get through it and wake up and just take it day by day. Enjoy the moment. Yeah, I feel like, that I felt when I failed in my career at times, you just kind of soak it in, just deal with it, man up, and just kind of go through it. Once you go through it, and then start over again and refresh your body and your mind, and do it all over again, because there's always going to be something that you feel like you failed at.
Yeah, definitely. Those are good words and good piece of advice for anybody watching.
Oh
Number
yeah.
9 is a two-part question. Uh, your favorite fighter of all time, and would you fight him
My
or her?
favorite fighter of all time, boxing or MMA?
Anyone you want, and would you
Anywhere.
would you fight them?
Uh, my favorite fighter of all time probably would be. Um, so I do have a few. Man, I'll probably say right now, probably Nate Diaz. He's always in. He's a homie also, and he's just a straight G. He's straightforward. He don't play no. He don't mess around, and he just
Yeah,
comes to fight no matter what. His style is a little different. He's more gangster in there, but just a fighter like that who just don't care, just goes in there. He just wants to fight and get paid.
yeah, definitely. Now, would you get in there with him?
Probably maybe in sparring or something, but not a real fight.
All right. Number 10, and then we'll circle back to number 1. Is the easy one. You like pineapples on pizza or not? It's kind of tearing the country apart right now. So I want to,
Sometimes, like right now, say you give it to me now, I'll eat it because I'm
no,
hungry as hell
I
and
can
I'm cutting
imagine.
weight,
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go just order
You
pineapple
know
on
what?
pizza.
That's extremely insensitive of me. I've never interviewed anybody while they're cutting weight.
Cutting
So
weight.
I'm asking you barbecue questions and
Yeah.
pizza questions. I'm sorry about that. All right. So we're going
They're
to circle
good.
back. Number 1, worst advice, anything? Or you want to skip that? We can skip that if you want to.
Worst advice, people are telling me not to invest in Bitcoin or buying a house.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that's probably pretty bad. I didn't even think about
yeah,
that, but that's
yeah.
that's definitely up
I I
there.
have I have a I have a buddy who invested in Bitcoin years ago when it first came out, and he's like sitting on like he's good for the rest of his life, and I'm like, fuck, why don't I do that?
Yeah, I
So
remember when it first jumped and people were like, it's just gonna, it's just one time, it's a fake
yeah,
and all that
yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
yep.
I never got into that. All right, so we're all good. Cisco, I'm gonna give it to you again, brother. Let the people know what you got going on, how to watch the fight, when to watch the fight. Give it all to me, brother.
Yeah, so I'm fighting Saturday, January 30th on XMMA.TV. It'll also be live on Fight Network. Starts at 7 p.m. Pacific time, I think. Uh, I'm the co-main event, so you guys don't want to miss it. James Vick's on the card, Big Jack May, former UFC guy, Bellator guy, James Vick, obviously from the UFC,
Mhm.
me, and a couple other guys. The card's stacked, so we're all looking to put on a good show. You guys can follow me on social media, Cisco Rivera, UFC. I'll be posting a bunch of stuff and weigh-ins tomorrow and then time to scrap.
Nice, brother. All right, man. Well, Cisco, again, as a fan, brother, I appreciate you even responding to my DM,
For sure. Thank you.
taking the
Sorry,
interview.
I get so many. Sometimes I just don't even
Brother, trust me,
yeah,
I've never been afraid to ask, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand, man. So
No, I
it's all
get it.
good, man. Thank you for the interview,
For
brother.
sure.
Best
No
of luck
doubt.
with the weight cut, and then Saturday we'll definitely be watching, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right,
All right.
take
See ya.
care, guys. Hey, take care.
Later.